Hi, Ellie. Welcome. I'm so happy to have you here. I'm so excited for everybody who catches this video or hears the audio on our podcast, wherever you might find this conversation. It's a good one. You need to know Ellie if you don't know her yet. This is a woman of many gifts and talents, let me tell you. And I want to hand it right over to you, Ellie. Can you share a little bit, share a lot, as much as you feel like? What do you do? Why do you do it? Why do you love doing the work that you do? Tell us that.
Right. Okay. So, hi, I'm Ellie. I let's start with the first piece of
Okay.
the many pieces. The
Mm.
first piece is that I am a sacred pleasure priestess.
Mm.
And what does that mean? Because we don't necessarily live in a world of priestessing. Well, I do, but not everybody does. And
Mhm.
so, really, what that means is that I create an archetypal space for transformation.
Mm.
And it is probably similar to a coaching realm, except and similar to a therapeutics realm in terms of making quantum leaps for people who come to see me and work with me. And very much unlike those two spaces, we work pretty much on an ethereal realm of things. And so I host ceremony, I host intuitive coaching sessions. And then the second piece of this is human design.
Mm. Human design is so cool. And I always think that everybody knows about it. And I was just down in Portland. Portland. I'm like, isn't everybody in Portland like weird and woo and out there?
We are.
And and the
And
and the woman doing my hair was like, I'm a double Libra, Leo, something, whatever, whatever. And I said, what are you in human design? And she was like, in what? And I said, you don't know what human design is? Oh my gosh, sorry, didn't mean to make you feel like you're living under a rock, but you might be living under a rock.
they just haven't emerged yet.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, so I
Okay.
really focus in human design on deeper qualities of your human design. A lot of us know our design and we know our profile, which are the two numbers that we have. And sometimes we even understand at least concepts of like open channels and defined or open, excuse me, centers and defined centers. But what I really love to get into are the channels and the gates and the profile, because I think that tells us so much about it when we really understand what the profile actually means
Mm,
and how it
mhm.
shows up in our life. So let's go deeper in human design.
Yeah. Okay. So you go deeper in human design, you host ceremony, temple, priestess, and then for the people who are watching this and you are new to them and they're like, okay, I want to know a little bit more. I'm curious. Like, what does that look like in practice? So when somebody says, okay, I want to work with you, what does the
Mm-hmm.
work look like?
The work looks like often it is through ceremony. So you like most of the clients that are coming to me through ceremony, and I host monthly ceremonies around the new moon. I also do full moon card readings in my private group. You're usually coming to me through like a channel of that. I also didn't mention this before, but the co-host of the Woo Curious podcast.
Mm.
And so we talk a lot about just adding a little bit more magic to your life. And so for anyone who is looking to kind of be connected in a way that is, as a former yoga teacher for 15 years, like that was a connection. Like we were able to connect to something greater than us.
Mm.
And this is a similar, and for me, yoga was always a ceremony. It was always this really methodical, really like sacred space that we could work out a lot of our kinks on the mat.
Mhm.
And really the best way to describe ceremony is similar to that, except sometimes more movement and sometimes less movement, but not yoga necessarily movement. So yeah, people come to me through the ceremonies that I host. I have people who hire me for private ceremonies. I just did a temple for a turning of the year, so somebody who was acknowledging that they were turning another year older, and we did it in the forests of West Vancouver.
Mm,
So it's just a lovely space to be in.
mm.
Yeah, so that's how people come to me.
Okay, beautiful. Now, we can't leave out FTP.
That is the thread. That's the red thread that connects me through all of my work. So, do I get to explain FTP? Are we going there?
Yeah, we're going there. Yeah, of
Okay,
course.
so
This
FTP,
is the essence of your work, your magic.
this is literally the essence of my work. Okay, so FTP really came to me when I was having a conversation with a very dear friend of mine, and we were talking about something that my only response to what she said was, fuck the patriarchy. Like, I am done with this bullshit. And so, in conversation with her as things progressed, I just started, because we had this conversation, hashtag FTP. And it is a movement now. It is rumbling in the underbelly of things, and
Mm,
it is starting to roar.
it's so
And
good.
there's going to be merchandise that is being worked on right now. It's going to launch, I think, probably in November, or maybe even closer to my birthday, around the end of October. And it is just in everything I do. It
Mm,
is bred and born and bred into me that the lens of everything I do is, how do we dismantle? Let me get on my soapbox for a moment. How do we dismantle the systems, the familial systems, the societal systems, and, for that matter, because it's always the red thread, the patriarchal systems that we live in, that oppress and suppress us covertly, because we
mm.
just live in this every day. I was just having a conversation with somebody the other day about pink tax, and I was like, don't get me started on pink tax. The fact that our shampoos, conditioners, razors, everything is just a little bit more expensive
Mhm,
because women.
mhm.
Hashtag FTP.
Yeah, it's it when I think of your presence, and especially within the My Line Purpose community, it's like that's what you are certainly known for. And when somebody new comes in, they're like, Sorry, I don't what are we talking about the police? What's going on here?" We're like, "Oh no, this is the
This is
movement
bigger.
Ellie's bringing forth. This is the patriarchy." And I love that at the time that you're bringing this conversation forward, then the Barbie movie comes out.
It's like
And
we planned it.
yeah, and I mean, that whole message of the patriarchy is for all of the people who I think like the conversations you're in and the communities you put yourself in and that sort of thing. It's like I would assume that that is a known topic of like, oh yeah, the patriarchy, and here's how it keeps us all small. But for all the people who are living their surface level life and going to their 9 to 5s and part of a corporate structure, control and demand, that are a part of the patriarchy and they don't even know it. And then the Barbie movie comes out and shines light on, oh, these are all the little ways that we are being kept in a box. I'm like, this is so good for the timing
Mm,
of you sharing your gifts with the world.
thank you.
So good. And I have to say, so Ellie's podcast is with another woman, Eileen, who's also in platinum. And I was having this conversation with Eileen, and I shared in the conversation with her that I genuinely, and I don't lie. I wouldn't say something if I didn't mean it. I wouldn't go out of my way to say, your podcast is fucking awesome if I didn't mean it. And I shared this when I was talking to her that I'm in my office and I'm such an Aries. I'm always moving things around. I need change 24/7. So it was a Friday. I'm moving my office around as I do, redoing my whiteboard, get all my little markers out. And I'm like, you know what? Usually I listen to an audiobook or a podcast or sometimes my favorite playlist. I'm like, oh yeah, Ellie and Eileen put out their episode today, the Woo Curious podcast. I'm going to have a listen. And originally it was like putting my like coach mentor hat on, like I'm gonna have a listen and just like see how this is all going for them. And then I was like, am I their biggest fan? What? I'm like messaging them and I'm like, I can't even remember all the things I was saying. I'm like taking note of everything. I'm like, we would have been friends hanging out in junior high and high school for
Yes.
sure. This
Yes.
is so good. So, anyways, I just want to congratulate you on. I think your podcast is truly it's it's going to go places. It's brand new. It's like an
Mm,
infant. And
it's so infant.
It's so infant, and I see it being chart topping, conversation starter. It's really, really good.
Thank you so much. It feels, after Eileen and I spoke about this, and separately we had been, brewing a podcast on our own. And when we decided to have this conversation, and I literally was like, are we gonna go steady with a podcast or what? Like, are we doing this? She was like, we're doing this. I was like, great. I'm in. I'm in. Like, sign me up.
Mm. Yeah. And it's like, sometimes I think about Kayla and I starting My Line Purpose and us each trying to do our own things. And then when we finally were just like, should we try this together?
Biz
And
Besties
then
is 10 out of 10.
yeah, thank you. And it's like, and then the floodgates open. It's
It
like,
just makes sense.
oh, this is not for everybody, but when you find a partnership in business and they can complement you. Yeah, it's all so good. Okay.
Yeah, love that.
All right. So for people who are listening and watching, I want you to stick around because we're going to talk a little bit about Ellie's experience in platinum right now, but then we're going to come back and Ellie's going to share offerings that she has right now, ways that you can work with her, all the places to find her, all that fun stuff. Okay. My question right now, switching gears a little bit, going into you've been in platinum experience since the beginning of 2023. What would you say has been your favorite part of being a part of this community?
Mm. Like, I can only choose one? Okay.
Oh, no, you don't have to choose one, but I maybe like your top favorite.
Okay. So, number one by a hair for me is the women in the community.
Mm,
The beauty of platinum is that the two of you have really like orchestrated, for lack of a better term, curated is the better term actually,
mm,
curated this really intimate and yet expansive environment for women just to come into, to be seen, to be heard, to be supported. But maybe the hair above just community for me is that, especially coming from the yoga community,
mm,
there is always this wound. There's this sisterhood wound. There's not even just the yoga community. Like, for us witches, us priestesses, the sisterhood wound runs deep. And what the two of you model is how to elevate other people,
mm. Thank you.
and especially how to elevate other people in platinum.
Mm,
Like, across the board, yes, but in platinum. And so the community is not just like, oh, hey, we're talking about, what's good and what's not so good in our business. It's, this is not so good. Who can help me?
mm-hmm,
Who can help me? And who can help me see a different perspective? Or it's not so, it is really good. Who can help me? Because we're not really meant to do this on our own. And in other coaching programs that I've been in, it's felt very much like we've had this little bit of community, but that je ne sais quoi is the
mm,
elevation that is encouraged all the time. And it's not even like, okay, guys, let's go cheerlead. That's not what we're talking about here. It's
mm-hmm,
literally in how both of you do everything as the leaders of the community trickles down to the rest of us. And
mm.
you modeling that allows for us to go, oh, who has something that I actually just want to talk about? I just sent a message to my accountability buddies this morning and I was like, how's everyone doing? You've got to launch, you've already launched. What's going on? How can I help? And that
Mm.
is not the way business is done.
No, but that's it when we say FTP, it's how business is done. Oh, thank you for seeing us in that way. It really is our intention to live in the belief of the universal laws. And that first universal law is law of oneness. What's available for me is available for you. And really, really wanting to showcase that we believe that. We're not just saying that. We're like, I do believe what's available for me is available for Kayla, for you, and for every other person in the program. And above and beyond that. And what's available for you is available for me. And so there does not have to be an air of comparison.
No.
Yeah. So good.
I also want to add on the frequency of calls. Like, so we've had like hair above and hair below. The other beautiful part of platinum is that I think that you have really you really understand, like anytime we wobble, there's another call. And it just so happens that like the call's already been scheduled. It's like every month we have the same frequency of calls. But
Mhm.
it's like you have thought about when someone's going to wobble. Okay, now we're going to do small group masterminding. And when
Mhm.
someone's going to wobble, we're going to do a Q&A. And so having that frequency of touch points with both you and Kayla and the rest of the community that can show up is so refreshing. And that sometimes I go to the call and I'm like, I don't even have a question. And I get to the call and I'm like, oh, actually, I do. Or I'm so glad that I went because hearing other people speak reflects back to me the things that I need to be aware of in my business. So
Mm.
the hair down is like the level of support is so on point. It's chef's kiss.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I was going to ask, this is something that I've asked other people is okay, so we've got all these different touch points. We do Q&As, we do our vortex calls, we do a mindset call, we do mini masterminds, we do our quarterly accelerators. Let's say that those are the ways in which we interact in a group basis. Then of course there's WhatsApp and all these other things. But out of all those community calls, which one is your favorite and why?
I think it's the mastermind call. And I made a commitment to myself that I was going to schedule, like I was going to attend all of the live calls. You know, sometimes when you get into a program, you're like, I'm kind of busy or I
Mm,
have attended every call except one, which was our
yes.
small group training last month. And it's because I had a temple that was scheduled for that exact time. Did I try to find a way to ensure that I could at least come to like a snippet of that? You know, I was driving down to even, okay, so there's the small group training or the small group masterminds, yes. And then because we can't make just one decision. I want everything and I can have everything. The
Mm,
accelerators, the quarterly accelerators.
yes.
You know, I'm driving to Nevada City this month and I was like, I can't miss these accelerators. I want to be in the magic of it being live. I can go back and watch, but just really making that commitment for myself. Those are probably my top two.
Mm, yeah, I have to say the accelerators are mine too. It's like 2 full days of being in that energy and really, again, like I feel like I get to know so much about each of you. I know who your partner is. I know the love story. I know the dogs. When I don't know somebody's like, how many pets do you have? What? I didn't know this. Okay, like I'm mentally taking note. Like I what yesterday we were on a mini mastermind call and there were 7 of us on the call and I was like, oh, there's so and so's pet, and there's that person's kid, and there's that person's dog, and there's that person's cat. And knowing all the names,
Yeah.
it's because I know you, or at least I feel like I know you because we get to spend so much time together. And
Mm-hmm.
that's meaningful for me for sure as somebody facilitating it. Okay, what would you say? One last question about platinum, and then we want to send all the people to work with you. What would you say to somebody who might be on the fence about joining?
Okay, so I was on the fence. I was you. I ended up doing aligned business school and then I did a VIP day. I'm not sure. Do you guys still do VIP days?
No, not
Oh,
currently.
regretfully so. The reason the VIP day solidified things for me, but I'm going to bring it back just to overall. I actually heard people in aligned business school because we can come back to that as platinum people. I heard people on the aligned business school calls that were a step ahead of where I was.
Mm,
And although I have been in business for many years, I was completely overhauling my business. I was starting a brand new business. And so seeing what they were doing, seeing the confidence that they had, and seeing the questions that they had in aligned business school made me go, there's something more to this platinum, to this
mm,
platinum thing. And so I stepped off the fence whenever I realized that there was some sort of refinement that I knew that I needed.
mm,
And then the VIP, if anybody in the past has taken a VIP and hasn't done platinum before, the VIP was sort of like the accelerator days, but just in a single day. And to explain for anybody that didn't know what a VIP day was, what Kayla and Nicole do is they spend the day with you, but the care and attention that they paid to your business
Mm,
to really listen to what it was that you were saying. So it's not formulaic. Like platinum is not a formula. It's
mm-mm,
not a blueprint. It's not like, is there content? Yes. Is there calls? Yes. Are there templates that you can use? Absolutely. But it is not a formula. And that was a huge piece that was missing for me. So if anybody who's listening to this feels like the FTP business owner, who feels like the rebel business owner, who feels like they don't fit into other places, who feels like people are not going to get it.
mm,
Like there are
mhm,
so many different businesses in platinum. There's so many, like a variety, a range of things that I kept thinking like I'm just outside of that range. But it really was when I came into Aligned Business School, I did the VIP day and you guys saw me and you got it. You were like,
mm,
no, good, we can do something with this.
mhm.
That made me just say, like, sign me up.
Mm.
Take my money.
Okay, I love that. And that's what the accelerator days are. That's why we put a pause on VIP day because we were like, well, really, this is what we're doing in accelerator days 4 times a year and double
Mhm.
the days. So not
Mhm.
1 day, but 2 days, 4 times a year. It just makes sense to come in, get in the community. Yeah, I love that. Okay, back to you. Before we wrap this up, where can everybody find you? And this is going to go live right away within the next day or two. So, what offers do you have going on right now? How can we work with you? Where can we find you?
Okay. First place that you can find me is Instagram at I am Ellie Christine. The second place that you can find me is through my Facebook community. It's a free community open to anybody who's just like even on the outskirts of FTP. It's called the Matriarch Collective, and you can search us on Facebook.
Mhm.
Those are the main two places that I hang out, besides WhatsApp. And then I have an offer right now that is just launched on Monday, which is an offer around human design,
Mm,
and it is called Deeper. You can find this on my website. And the deeper aspect of things is going into the channels, the gates, and your profile to understand one of two of four things really that you get to choose: yourself as a whole being, not the being that society tells you to be,
mhm,
your relationships with your family and friends, because sometimes we have discord or we just feel like I'm in a family of three projectors, which thank goodness that there are two others besides
mhm,
me. But the other two people are manifesting generators and generators, and y'all pull us over to that side of things very, very often.
mm,
And then I have career. So how we can use your human design to really break open your career, to your marketing message, what it is that you're really supposed to be doing, that environment, that container, if you will.
mm,
And then uh, lovers. How can you either find a
mhm,
mate, find lasting love, spice up your relationship? And that is really, it's like I keep thinking, this is written in the stars, this is written in our chart.
mhm,
So that's an offer that's on right now called Deeper. And at the end of this month, I'm doing a temple on intuition. And
mm,
so this is going to be a great offering for anybody who is sort of dabbling in, do I have intuition? What does that actually mean? We're going to do some oracle reading. We're going to get into listening to ourselves and what that actually means, like where our intuition comes from, because it's not everybody has the same style and or downloads the same message from the same server,
mm,
if you will.
mhm.
And so that's going to be at the end of the month, and it is on intuition. So that'll be up on my website and all over my social media as well.
Perfect. Okay. And I will make sure that all of those are linked. I am Ellie Christine, the Matriarch Collective, Ellie's website, the human design readings. It's all going to be there. This will be on YouTube. It'll be on Instagram. It will live in various other places. So make sure that if you go connect with Ellie, if you've never met her before and it's from this, say, hi, I saw you on the interview with My Lane Purpose. Let Ellie know where you came from. Go sign up for this human design reading. So, so, so cool. Get into the temple, take part in the new moon, full moon readings. We've got a new moon coming up this weekend. So, yeah, lots of great stuff there. And I just want to say thank you so much, Ellie, for joining me in this call today.
Thank you.
Okay. Have a great day.